What is up, guys, and welcome to my review of the Xbox Showcase. I'm your host Mike of TheDonnerGman, and today we're gonna talk about everything Microsoft just showed off today during the Xbox Showcase. Now I'm gonna go step by step what they showcase, and of course, if you like to see more of me in the future and me doing more of these videos, don't forget to smack that subscribe button and turn on notifications to be notified when I upload in the future. And of course, to help out the YouTube algorithm, go smack that like button. It definitely helps out the YouTube algorithm and it helps out the channel too. Anyway, let's get to it now. First thing we saw, of course, was Halo Infinite. Now, at first, I didn't really think that was going to be Halo Infinite, but then once I heard the voice of Cortana, then I definitely knew what it was. And once we saw the 117 icon on Master Chief's suit, then it was definitely Halo Infinite. And of course, at first, I only thought we were going to see another trailer, but then they showed some gameplay. I think it was about 5 minutes of gameplay now. Gameplay took part right after the first trailer we ever saw of Halo Infinite, and I gotta say, it definitely looks great. Now, I don't know how it's gonna look on Xbox One, but according to Microsoft, this was all Xbox Series X gameplay, and they are promising an open world Halo Infinite. It's going to be double the size of the last two Halos, Halo 5 and Halo 4, so let's see what we can expect. And then they also promised it's gonna run at 60 FPS. They didn't say anything about 4K, but I am assuming it's going to be 4K too, because that's all they're promising for the Xbox Series X. It is the most powerful console, so it definitely should be at 4K 60 FPS, but this would definitely be a reason why I would get the Xbox Series X. I don't know if I'm gonna get it yet, because all the games that they showed, including Halo Infinite, will be released for the PC, and I have a PC right behind me, as you guys can see right behind me, that is definitely capable of probably running Halo Infinite at 4K 60 FPS, because I have a 2080 Super back there, and who knows when the 3000 series will come out. They're gonna be more powerful than the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5, so like I said, I don't know if I'm gonna get the Xbox Series X yet, but I'm definitely gonna get the PlayStation 5, but that's another story for another video. Anyway, like I said, they started off with Halo Infinite, then they showed off a trailer to State of Decay 3, which will also be released on Xbox Series X and PC. At first, I thought it was going to be Microsoft version of The Last of Us, but then it wasn't. It was State of Decay 3. Now, I've never played State of Decay 2 or 1, so I don't know how good these games are or will be, so I don't know if I'm gonna get it even on PC, but who knows. Then we saw a little bit of Phil Spencer. He announced that all games that were shown today will be available on Xbox Game Pass. And then we got a glimpse of the next Forza game. It was only a little gameplay, not a lot, but it also looked pretty good. And then they announced that it was gonna come out on Xbox Series X and PC, and the Xbox Series X version will of course run at 4K 60 FPS. Then we got a glimpse of Rare's newest title called Everwild. Going to be released on Xbox Series X and Windows PC, so PC version again. And I don't know about this one. Rare has been pretty disappointing so far ever since they were acquired by Microsoft, so don't know if I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna wait until they show some gameplay, because they didn't show any gameplay and I want to know what it's all about. Then the next game they showed off was called Tell Me Away. At first, when I saw it, I immediately thought about Life is Strange, and I was correct, because it's gonna be a Life is Strange clone, and it's gonna be episodic, but the first episode will be released in August, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, it's gonna be released in August for Xbox One, and then for Xbox One and PC, I would assume, and then once the Xbox Series X is released, it's gonna release for that too. But the first episode will be released in August, and then, like Life is Strange or the Walking Dead Telltale series, it's gonna be episodic. So episode 1 in August, and then the rest of the episodes will follow. Then they showed off a version of Ori that's gonna be released on the Xbox Series X when it released this holiday season. And what definitely surprised me, shouldn't really surprise me because that Ori isn't really a demanding game, but that game, the Xbox Series 1 version, will be released in October or November, holiday season, when the Xbox Series X releases, and it's going to run at 4K HDR 120 FPS. So I kind of expected that these types of games will run at 120 FPS now. Halo Infinite will definitely not run at 120 FPS HDR 4K. Maybe they'll release a 1080p version of it, who knows, but these kind of games will definitely be the top games you'll see 4K 120 Hz. Then they announced a add-on to The Outer Worlds that will be released on Xbox Series X and of course Xbox One and I think PC, and there's a version of on the PlayStation 4, right? But of course they didn't talk about the PS4 version, of course, since it's a Microsoft showcase. And that will be one of 2 add-ons for The Outer Worlds, and of course it's gonna come out on Xbox Series X and Xbox One. Then Obsidian showed off a new game called Grounded, which will be released, I think, next week, July 28th for Xbox One, and then later on Xbox Series X. And after that they showed off their newest title, which will be a RPG, Elder Scroll-like, and that is called Avowed. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. It's called Avowed. And it will be released exclusively on Xbox Series X and PC. Since it's going to be built ground up from the Xbox Series X, so it's probably going to be 4K 60 FPS mod probably, or at least 4K 30 like most games will be, and then it's going to have a PC version also. So that's definitely a game I'm looking forward to. And now we're going to then they announced a few indie titles. First one being As Dusk Falls. That's going to be an interactive drama, which will probably be like Walking Dead or Batman, sort of Telltale games, or Life is Strange, so it's probably going to be that type of game. They didn't show any gameplay of it, so I don't know what type of game it's going to be, but I'm assuming it's going to be like the Walking Dead Telltale series or Life is Strange. And that will also be released on Xbox Series X and PC. Then they talked a little bit about Hellblade, the new Hellblade that's gonna come out from Ninja series. Of course, they announced it for Xbox Series X and PC. And then if you want to see behind the scenes documentary, you have to go over to their YouTube channel. So after this video, I'm gonna look at it, and then I might talk about it. Like I said, Xbox Series X and PC. Then they announced a new version of Destiny 2 that's gonna come to Xbox Series X this holiday season, and it's going to include all DLCs so far, all expansion packs and so on, and it will run at 4K 60 FPS and HDR. So I already got it on PC, so I already have 4K 60 FPS and HDR, so don't really need it, but I might get it if I get a Series X, so who knows. But that is all for now with that was all with Destiny. Like I said, 4K 60 FPS, all expansion packs that have been released so far will be included in the Xbox Series X version. Now this one's a little tricky. The games that they talked about from now on, that I'm going to be talking about, are all Xbox console exclusive, I think, but every time they announce a new game, they always said it's going to be an Xbox console launch exclusive, so I'm assuming it's gonna come out on the other consoles too, but these following games will only be released on Xbox Series X for Xbox One and PC, so no PlayStation planned so far, but I'm assuming since it's only a console launch exclusive, they will also be released on PlayStation or Switch or whatever. So then the first game they announced that's gonna be a console launch exclusive is Stalker 2. That's gonna come out on Series X and PC. And I never played the first one, but from what I've heard, it was good. Like I said, I didn't play the first one, but I'm assuming I'm gonna get it probably for the PC, like I said, or for Xbox Series X, depending on if I even get it. Then the next game they announced is Warhammer 40,000 Dark Side. And that's gonna come out in 2021 on Xbox Series X and PC. Like most of the games today, they didn't show true gameplay, so we don't know if it's gonna be a third-person shooter or a first-person shooter. But according, at least what I saw during the trailer, it's going to be a first-person shooter, I think. So that's probably going to be a first-person shooter, and I like my first-person shooters, but I've never been a big fan of the Warhammer games, so don't know if I'm gonna get it. I'll wait until I see some gameplay, some reviews, and then I'll decide if I'll get it. Then the most boring game that they announced today, which has been released multiple times, just in different versions, is we're gonna get a new Tetris game. This is once again a console launch exclusive, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and PC. Yeah, it's Tetris. Enough said. Then another console launch exclusive, the Gunk. It's gonna be Series X and Xbox One and PC. Now this reminds me, let me think. Can't really think of any game this reminds me of, but I think it looks like a platformer like Mario or Crash Bandicoot. So I like Crash Bandicoot, I like Mario. Who knows if I'm gonna get it? Have to decide until then, till I see some reviews and so on. But like I said, console launch exclusive. So far it's only announced for Xbox Series X, Xbox One, and PC. Then we got some gameplay footage of The Medium that was already announced at their last press conference or showcase. When was it? In May, I think, where they got a lot of backlash because they only showed trailers and no gameplay, even though they announced gameplay. But we got a little bit of gameplay too. Now it's going to be 2 worlds where you're going to play in the real world according to the game, or in a demon type world. So that definitely looks interesting, and like I said, it's going to be a console launch exclusive, so it's going to be released on the Xbox Series X and Xbox One first, and PC, and then probably later on the PlayStation and Switch, if the Switch can even handle that game, because that game definitely looks amazing. Then we got an announcement to Phantasy Star Online 2. Now, Phantasy Star Online was a Dreamcast game, I think, that was released ages ago, about 20 years ago when the Dreamcast was released, and didn't get an opportunity to play it back then. Maybe I'll get into it and play Phantasy Star Online 2 when it releases on Xbox Series X, Xbox One, and PC in 2021. I just had to look if it's also being released on Xbox One, but it's gonna be released on Xbox One too, so Xbox Series X, Xbox One, and PC. Then we got another announcement of a game that's gonna be released when the Xbox Series X is released, and that is in 2021, Holiday 21. I assume it's going to be a game from Remedy, Crossfire X. It's gonna be a single-player, multiplayer, first-person shooter. I believe we already seen this game at their showcase back in May or June. Not entirely sure when that was, but it was back then when they assumedly wanted to show off gameplay, but none of the videos were true gameplay, only cutscenes. So let's see, that definitely looks great, and it's gonna, as I mentioned, gonna be released in Holiday 2020, so it's gonna be probably gonna be a launch title for the Xbox Series X. and it's going to also be released on the Xbox One and PC. So it's going to be a multi-plat game, but it's going to be a console launch exclusive, so probably going to be released on on PlayStation 4 and 5 in the future, or maybe even Switch. And then we're gonna come to the end of the showcase for today, and the last thing they announced that we're gonna get free upgrades for Forza Horizon 4 and Gears of War 5 on Xbox Series X. So if you already have Forza Horizon 4 or Gears 5, the upgrades are going to be free once you get your Xbox Series X. And then of course all games, if I haven't said it, will be available on Xbox Game Pass. So if you have Xbox Game Pass, all the games that I talked about and that Microsoft talked about today will be available once you have Game Pass. So I don't have Game Pass because I don't know when is the last time I actually played on my Xbox, because as you guys can see, I play most of my games on PC, but I think Game Pass is also available on PC. There's a version of Game Pass available on PC, so maybe I'll get it in the future, but for now I'm okay with buying the games because not a lot of exclusives are available on Xbox that are also available on PC, so who knows, but I've heard a lot of good things about Xbox Game Pass, so maybe I'll get it in the future. Then the very last game that they showed off, well, I didn't really show it off, instead they announced it. It was Fable, and that's gonna be developed by the people over from Playground Games. Those are the people that are also responsible for the Forza Horizon games, so it looks like we're gonna have to wait until we get the next Forza Horizon game, because they are currently working on a new Fable game. They didn't announce if it's gonna be Fable 4 or it's going to be a completely new Fable game. Who knows? Let's hope it's a completely new Fable game with new characters and so on. Now the only Fable game I played was Fable 3, I believe, and that was only because it was free for Xbox Gold back then on Xbox 360, so I got it, played a little bit of it, and I haven't touched the Fable since then. And we'll see. Gotta wait until we see more of it, since they just announced it. They didn't even announce a release window of it. So it's probably not going to be a launch title. It's probably going to come out in 2021 or 2022, I would assume, at the latest. And yep, that was about it. That's all they announced today during the showcase. And now let's talk about what I like the most. Of course, it is definitely Halo Infinite. That game definitely looked great. I'm definitely looking forward to it. Like I said, I'm gonna get it on PC because I got a PC that's already more powerful than the Xbox Series X. So I'm definitely gonna be able to play that at 4K 60 FPS. And I don't know when the 3000 series graphics cards are gonna be released. What I'm hearing, they're gonna be released in September, or at least this year. If not, then probably at the beginning of next year. So I already got Halo Infinite. I'm gonna get it for PC. Got the Master Chief Edition, as you guys know. Only thing I'm waiting for now is Halo 5. Maybe they'll release a Halo PC version of that too. Who knows? That's the only one we're missing now. We got Halo Reach, we got Halo 1, 2, 3, and probably gonna get ODST pretty soon, and then Halo 4. We got all the Halo Wars games on it on PC too, so the only one we're missing now is Halo Infinite, but they announced that for PC, and of course Halo 5, so who knows. Like I said, definitely looking forward to Halo Infinite, and then maybe Medium, and then Forza Motorsport. What is it called then? I think we have 7 on PC and Xbox One, so the next one has to be Forza Motorsport 8, or maybe they're just gonna call it Forza Motorsport. Definitely a big motorsport fan, so that's probably a game I'm going to get. Now, if I would get the Xbox Series X, like I said, I would get Halo Infinite, Forza Motorsport, and Medium. And then that is about it. Those are must-have games for me personal. What about you guys? What did you like? What did you like that you saw today? Are you a big fan of Halo as I am? Are you going to get an Xbox Series X? Will you get Halo Infinite on launch day because they announced it for holiday 2020, so I'm assuming it's going to be a launch title. And of course, do you have your 4K TV ready to play Halo Infinite at 4K 60 FPS in HDR? I do. I have a 4K TV and a 4K monitor. Now my PC monitor sadly is not HDR capable, but I am planning on getting HDR 4K capable monitor in the future. So I'm definitely expecting to play that in glorious 4K 60 FPS and HDR. And that is about it. Like I said, what did you like? What did you dislike? Did you enjoy the showcase today? Will you get the Xbox Series X? And will you get Halo Infinite with it? And just start a conversation about Microsoft in general down in the comments below. And of course, if you liked this video, don't forget to smack that like button for the YouTube algorithm. And if you want to help out the channel, just leave a comment down below with some feedback. And press that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you'll be notified when I upload in the future. As always, guys, thank you for supporting my channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to help me out even more, if you want to see me play games live, you can go follow me on Twitch. The link will be right here or down in the description below. As always, guys, thank you for supporting my channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys all in my next video. Peace.